The following matchup is being played with History Maker Baseball Express, a fast-playing baseball simulation board game, a property of Play Games LLC, copyright 2022, all rights reserved. Welcome to today's episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. In today's episode, we are continuing our All Star Week festivities here for the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. As even though the All Star game has come and gone, we are going to be featuring, of course, on our latest edition of World Series Rewind, the last time that the site of the All Star game was the team host, I should say, for the All Star game last won the World Series. And that's right, folks. We're rewinding the clock all the way back to 2008 as we have the Philadelphia Phillies and the Tampa Bay Rays as they renew their World Series rivalry here on the latest edition of World Series Rewind. Who will come out on top of this matchup? I guess you're going to have to tune in to find out for yourself because game one is just around the corner. But before we get to that, let's take a look and say thank you to our official Play Game sponsors for sponsoring today's episode of World Series Rewind as part of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. We would like to take this time to say thank you to our official Play Game sponsors for sponsoring today's episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. First and foremost, thank you to Biddy Beer for sponsoring every mid-game and end-of-game summary throughout every episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. And again, we remind you, if you choose to drink Biddy Beer, please remember to drink responsibly. As always, it has big taste. At a Biddy price, it's Biddy Beer. They say it's a blend of hops, rice, and barley that gives Biddy Beer its distinctive taste, but we know better. It's our brewing process that gives our beer that one-of-a-kind flavor that no premium beer can match. Our bats have never been cleaned, so there's an itty-bitty bit of history in every can. Bitty Beer, the beer for folks who can't afford better. And by Doc Cola, the official cola drink of the Play Games community. And every game that we go to extra innings, it is a Doc Cola extra innings ball game. Doc Cola uses the finest imitation ingredients to bring you that sugary blast of caffeine you've come to know and love. With twice the sugar and 3 times the caffeine of any other major brand, Doc Cola is sure to keep you wired from dawn till dusk. So take the Doc Cola challenge and see why our customers agree. You'll never be able to wean yourself from a refreshing Doc Cola. And by Pizza Kingdom. At Pizza Kingdom, our signature New York style pizza starts with the crust. Then we layer on a homemade pizza sauce and then load your pizza up with mounds of cheese. When it comes out of the oven, it's piping hot, golden brown, and ready for you to enjoy. And then we give that majestic culinary work of art to Mickey, our 16-year-old delivery driver who's as responsible as a tree stump. Pizza Kingdom, it's sheer perfection when it left the store. And by Suncoast Capital. At Suncoast, we live by one simple rule of investing. When your clients win, we win. And when our clients lose, we win, sort of. Suncoast Capital. You know we're gonna get all of your money anyway. And by Rubicon Wireless. Why pay $200 a month for wireless service when you can get 4 lines for just $25 a month? With our tin can plan, you can access our wireless network that covers at least 25% coast to coast between the hours 11 p.m. and 4:30 a.m. with unlimited text and messaging between those hours, of course. So why pay for a service you cannot live without? And we welcome you to Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for game one of this episode of World Series Rewind. The Philadelphia Phillies were the recent All Star game hosts for the Major League Baseball All Star game. And so, why not? For today's episode, we relive their last World Series win as from the All Star game host city. In this case, we are going to feature the 2008 World Series between the Tampa Bay Rays and the Philadelphia Phillies. This was a meh World Series, but it was the most recent one from the all-Star game hosts, the Philadelphia Phillies. With that being said, your starting pitching matchup for game one is as follows. Jamie Moyer will be on the hill for the Phils, and Scott Kazmir will be on the hill for the Tampa Bay Rays. With that being said, we're ready to play ball as Akinori Iwamura will lead things off for the Rays against Jamie Moyer here for game one of this episode of World Series Rewind. We'll get game one of this episode of World Series Rewind underway with a 2-3-6. Struggler or Gilded on Moyer? He's not. Sad sack on Iwamura? He's not. That is going to be an RBI question mark check. And my goodness, folks, the Rays are going to take charge of a 1-0 lead after a half inning of play, thanks to an RBI from Akinori Iwamura. We head to the bottom half of the first. It's Rays nothing, and the Phils are coming to bat in their half of the first inning. 3-3-4, star on Kazmir. He's a semi-star. The decider die says he's not. Utility on Jimmy Rollins. He's not a utility. So therefore, that'll be a men on base result. -1 for the black die of control. Scott Kazmir does not have control. So therefore, it'll be runners at the corners for Jason Worth. We got an 11 off the men on base chart with batting team harmony or pitching team to sonnet. Well, again, no team throughout this inaugural season of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour will take full advantage of who is harmonious or who's dissonant or who's hot and who's cold. So that being said, it will be a ground out. The Phillies threaten but do not score here in their half of the first. After one inning of play, it's Rays 1 and the Phils nothing. 1-3-5. Ace pitcher on Moyer. No. 1-3-5. Here we are. Champ on BJ Upton. He's not a champ. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 1 dot for Flash and a dot for Control. With that being said, we head to the bottom of the second here at the bank with your score, Rays 1, Phillies nothing. 2-3-5. Star on Kazmir. He's a semi-star. The decider die says he is not. Sad sack on Chase Utley. He's not a sad sack. So therefore, there'll be a men on base result with a -1 for the black die if Flash. Scott Kazmir has full Flash. So therefore, from 5 to a 4, runners at the corners for Ryan Howard. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 12. Slugger hits home run. Ryan Howard is a slugger. Oh my, he put a charge into this one. Out to the second deck in right field. It is high. It is far. It is gone. Ryan Howard with a 3-run bomb to right. No doubt about it. As the Phillies take charge of the Rays 3-1. As we resume play here in the men on base chart for Pat Burrell. Oh God, 15. Scrapper hits double. Pat Burrell is not a scrapper. Back to back jacks. A 3-run jack by Ryan Howard and a solo shot by Pat Burrell. And the Philadelphia Phillies lead the Rays after 2 innings of play by the score of 4-1. 336. Workman on Moyer. He's not. Satsack on Pena. He's not. That'll be an RBI question mark check. And folks, oh my word. The black die is a 6. And whenever the RBI question mark result comes up off the main chart, and if the decider die says dot, and if the black die is a 6, it's not only 1 RBI, it's 2 RBIs, because there is a rule in History Maker Baseball Express that if the black die is a 6 and an RBI question mark result comes off the main charts, it's not only 1 RBI, it's 2 RBIs. The Rays, courtesy of Carlos Pena, creep a little bit closer. It's 4-3, still in favor of the Philadelphia Phillies. One, two, five. Pitcher not fresh. Well, Casimir, we're in the full freshness inning, so he is still fresh. Champ on Shane Victorio, the Flying Hawaiian. He is not a champ, so therefore that is going to end up being a no runs result of a 5 dot, and that will seal up the deal for the first 3 innings here at the bank with your score: Phillies 4, Rays 3. 1-2-5. Pitcher not fresh. Well, Jamie Moyer, we're now in the semi-freshest innings. Jamie Moyer is still considered fresh. And I played freshness for those of you tuning in for the first time. Like, what the heck does he talk? What the heck is he talking about with freshness and all that stuff? Well, I'm glad you asked. For this inaugural season of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour, uh, everyone is being played on a neutral playing field. So innings 1-3 is played with full fresh, and innings 4-6 are played with semi-fresh. Since we're in the 4th inning, we're part of the semi-freshest innings. So in this case, Jamie Moyer is still considered fresh. And whenever we're in the semi-freshest innings, I play with the decider die as dot he's fresh, blank he's not. So with that being said, we move on to ask, is Evan Longoria a champion batter? It looks like he is not. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 1 dot for flash and a blank for control. And that is going to do it for the first 3 innings, 3.5 innings of this one. Your score remains 4-3 in favor of the Philadelphia Phillies. 236. Struggler or gilded on Casimir. He's not. Satsack on Pedro Feliz. He's not. That is going to be an RBI question mark check. This time the decider die says no. So therefore, it will be a no runs result of a 6 dot, and that is all she wrote for the first 4 innings of this one. Your score after 4 innings of play is the 08 Phillies 4 and the 08 Rays 3. 146. Ace or dynamic on Moyer. He's not. Sadsack on Crawford. No. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if control. And it seems Moyer has semi-control, and the decider die says yes, he does. So from bases loaded to runners on second and third, it will be up to Deonor Navarro's turn to off the men on base chart to get something going here for the Tampa Bay Rays. 35, control pitcher. Jamie Moyer is a semi-control pitcher, and the decider die says he does have control. So therefore, it will be a ground out to end the top half of the fifth inning. The Rays threaten but do not score. The Phillies hang on to their 4-3 lead over the Tampa Bay Rays as we head to the bottom half of the fifth inning. 245. 245. Here we are. Struggler on Casimir. He's not. Sad sack on Carlos Ruiz. He is not a sad sack. So therefore, it'll be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash or control. Casimir has full flash. So from 4 to a 3, they're not going to play the trump card because they're in the lead. They'll place the runners on at first and second for Jimmy Rollins. We have a 12 off the men on base chart. Slugger. Jimmy Rollins is not a slugger, so therefore it will be a single as the Phillies add on an insurance run, as it is now 5-3 in favor of the 08 Philadelphia Phillies. 226. Ace on Moyer. He's not. Utility on Zobrist. He's not. That'll be an RBI question mark check. And the decider die says, nah, you are staying put at a score of 5-3. You don't need to creep it to a one-run game just yet. We end the top half of the sixth with your score: Phillies 5, Rays 3, timeout. It seems we got a new pitcher trotting in for the bullpen as J.P. Howell will take over here in the bottom half of the sixth, as he has full ace and full flash credited to his name. For this at bat against Jason Worth, J.P. Howell will have the full extent use of the semi-star quality. With that being said, we resume play here in the bottom half of the sixth with the score: Phillies 5, Rays 3. 445. 445. Workman on Howell. No. Utility. Oh, excuse me. Workman, no. Hero on Worth. He's a semi-hero. The decider die says he's not. That is going to be a no-runs result of a 4 dot, and that will seal up the deal for the first 6 innings here at the ballpark with your score: Phillies 5, Rays 3. We begin the top half of the 7th inning with Jason Bartlett up at the dish against a 1-2-6. And we ask, is Jamie Moyer a struggler or gilded pitcher? He's not. Do we have a hero batter on Bartlett? It seems we do. So therefore, that is going to be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Bartlett is a semi-active runner. The decider die says, yes, he is active. So from 2 to a 3, go big or go home. The Rays are going to put runners on it, the runner on at third for Akinori Iwamura. We have a 56 as he bats off the men on base chart with a patient batter draws the walk. Unfortunately, Iwamura is not a patient batter, so therefore it will be a contact result. And I usually roll the red die for my contact chart results. It's a 4. Champ or hero? It looks like Akinori Iwamura is a semi-hero. The decider die says he is not. So therefore, it'll be a ground out. Or yes, it'll be a ground out to end the top half of the 7th. We head to the stretch here at the bank with your score: Phillies 5, Rays 3. 166. Ace on Howell. No. Oh, excuse me. Ace on Howell. Yes, he does have ace. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 6 dot, and that will seal up the deal for the first 7 innings here for this ball game. Your score after 7 innings is Phillies 5, Rays 3. 256. Workman on Moyer. He's not. Sadsack on BJ Upton. He's not. That is going to be a men on base result, -1 for the black die if flash. And it seems Moyer has semi flash. The decider die was not used. Moyer does not have flash. So therefore, from 5, yes, that 5 will stay put since he doesn't have flash. And that'll bring up Carlos Pena off of the men on base charts. And the Phillies manager is trusting Moyer because he wants to save his closer for a possibility of a save situation if the Phillies can hang on to this 5-3 lead. We head to the men on base chart for Carlos Pena's at bat with a 46. Same reliever gets the strikeout. And again, when we say same, it's righty versus righty, lefty versus lefty. Since we have a lefty versus lefty matchup, it will be a strike 3 called on Carlos Pena as the Phillies get out of the inning. As the Rays threaten but do not score, it remains Phillies 5, Rays 3. 455. Workman on Howell. He's not a workman. Utility on Ryan Howard. Get out of here. When is Ryan Howard ever a utility batter? So therefore, it'll be a men on base result, -1 for the black die if flash or control. JP Howell has flash, so that 4 will be reduced to a 3. They're not going to place the runner on at third yet. So therefore, that will bring up Pat Burrell off the men on base chart with runners on at first and second with a 24. Goldfielder makes the out. Evan Longoria is a neutral fielder, so therefore that is going to be an error loading up the bases for the flying Hawaiian, Shane Victorino. 46. Same reliever gets the strikeout, and it seems, again, lefty versus lefty, righty versus righty. Since we have a lefty versus righty matchup, it's that strikeout is null and void, but it will be a contact result. And the red die comes back out once more. It's a 5. Champ on Victorino. He's not a champion. So therefore, that is going to be a pop out. Last call for the Rays as the Rays escape the bases loaded jam here in the bottom half of the 8th. We do see the bullpen doors swing wide open. The lights go out here at the bank. The Phillies are bringing in their closer. And while they bring him in, we will take this really quick timeout with the score as we head to the top half of the 9th. Phillies 5, Rays 3. Brad Lidge is out on the mound as he is looking to nail the coffin shut on the Tampa Bay Rays here in Game 1 of this episode of World Series Rewind, as he has ace, flash, and semi-wild for this at-bat against Carl Crawford. Yes, Carl Crawford. Brad Lidge will have the full extent use of the semi-star quality. With that being said, it's Phillies 5, Rays 3. Last call for the Tampa Bay Rays here in Game 1 of this episode of World Series Rewind. 1, 2, 3. Workman or struggler? Lidge is neither. Champ on Crawford. He is not. That is going to be a no runs result of a 2 blank. And folks, the game is over. The final score here in Game 1 of this episode of World Series Rewind, the Philadelphia Phillies come from behind to win it by the score of 5-3 over the Tampa Bay Rays. And we are coming at you live from Tropicana Field here in beautiful Tampa Bay, Florida, for game two of this episode of World Series Rewind between the '08 Phils and the '08 Tampa Bay Rays. Your starting pitching matchup for game two will be James Shields going for the Rays, and he will be opposed by Brett Myers for the Phils. James Shields has semi-star, semi-flash, and full control, as Brett Myers has semi-workman and full flash. That being said, the Bills took charge as they won game one by the final of 5-3. Can they go up 2-0, or will the Rays try to tie up this series before heading back to the bank for game three for a winner-take-all matchup? It's time to find out. Let's play ball here for game two of this episode of World Series Rewind. 145 is what we're going to begin with here for game two. Do we have an ace or dynamic pitcher for James Shields? It seems we do not. Sad sack on Pedro Feliz. He's not. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. James Shields has semi-flash, and the decider die says he does. So therefore, that 5 will be reduced to a 4, putting runners at the corners for the catcher for this game, Chris Koss, as Carlos Ruiz will be the designated hitter for the Philadelphia Phillies for this game. And with that being said, we can continue on with Chris Koss at bat off the men on base chart. Oh my word, a 66. That is going to be scrapper hit single. Unfortunately, Koss is not a scrapper. That is going to be a bases clearing double. The Phillies take charge once more. This time they score first. It is now 2-0 in favor of the Philadelphia Phillies, as Carlos Ruiz will be up at the dish with a runner on at second base. 46. Same reliever gets the strikeout. And again, whenever we say same, it's lefty versus lefty, righty versus righty. Since we have a righty versus righty matchup, James Shields will get the strike 3 called from the home plate umpire, and Carlos Ruiz will get his catcher's gear on and head out to the field, as it is Phillies nothing, and the Rays are coming to bat in their half of the first inning. #155. 155. Here we are. Ace on Myers. He's not an ace. Hero on Deanna Navarro. He is a hero. So therefore, that is going to be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Deanna Navarro is a full stoic runner. So therefore, from 5 to a 4, putting runners at the corners for Ben Zobrist. Zobrist will take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 23. Eager batter grounds out. Well, again, Zobrist is not an eager batter, so therefore the bases are loaded, full of Tampa Bay Rays for Jason Bartlett. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 34. Slugger hits a double. Unfortunately, Bartlett is not a slugger, so therefore it's going to be a single and a tie ball game. The runner on third scores. The runner on second will score. It's a tie game up, as it's a 2-2 tie after 1 inning of play here at the Trop between the '08 Phillies and the '08 Tampa Bay Rays. 2-2-3. Yes, 2-2-3. Ace on Shields. No. Utility on Jimmy Rollins. No. That is going to be a 2-2-3. Here we are. RBI question mark check, and it seems the decider die says yes. So the Phils are going to get the lead right back at courtesy of Jimmy Rollins, as the Phillies now lead it 3-2 over the Tampa Bay Rays. Iwamura will be stepping onto the plate with triple threes. This will be an experience check. Oh boy, again, 3 blank is the call for no runs results. And we're going to roll the white die here with a 6. Do we have an icon batter or prospect pitcher? We have a flip-flop here, folks. We have a prospect batter, a semi-prospect batter, but a semi-icon pitcher, though. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 3 blank, and that will seal up the deal for the first 2 innings of this one here at the Trop. The score is now 3-2 in favor of the '08 Philadelphia Phillies. 3-4-4. 3-4-4. 3-4-4. Here we are. Workman on Myers. Always a semi-workman, but the decider die says he is. So therefore, it'll be a men on base result with a base running adjust. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No. Scratch that. Workman, no. On Shields. I forgot. Top of the third. Um, yes. Workman on Shields, no. Satsak on Worth, no. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die of control. Shields has control, so that 3 will be reduced to a 2, putting Worth on at second base for Chase Utley. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. We're still in the full freshness inning, so therefore, James Shields will get the ground out as the Phils threaten but do not score here in the third inning. And we go to the bottom half of the third with your score: Phillies 3, Rays 2. 1-2-6. 1-2-6. 1-2-6. Here we are. Struggler or Gilded on Myers? No. Hero on BJ Upton. He is a 1-2-6. Hero back. Yes, he is a semi-hero. The decider die says he is. So therefore, that will be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. BJ Upton is a semi-active runner. The decider die says he is. So that 1 will be increased to a 2, putting BJ on at second, down at second base for Carlos Pena off the men on base chart. 22. Batting at home. You better believe it. The Rays are batting at home this time for game 2 of this episode of World Series Rewind. So therefore, it will be a single. Runners at the corners. Whoop. Here we go. Runners at the corners for Evan Longoria. This is a huge at bat here in this game for the Rays. If they could try to grab the lead and make sure Shields shuts down the Phils in the fourth inning. Let's see if they can do it right here, right now. We got a 12. Slugger hits home run. Evan Longoria is a semi-slugger. Oh, and the decider die says no. Oh my goodness. But hold it. It will be a single. So therefore, the Rays will tie up the game thanks to an Evan Longoria single. They missed so much close. It will be a base hit for Evan Longoria and nothing more. The runner on third will score. The runner on first goes to third. And that is going to do it for the first 3 innings here at the Trop. We're all even up at 3 between the Phillies and the Rays for game 2 of this episode of World Series Rewind. 1-2-2. Struggler on Shields. No. Champ on Howard. No. That is going to be a no runs result of a 1 dot, and that will seal up the deal. Yes, seal up the deal for the first 3.5 innings of this one. The score is all dead even at 3. between the '08 Phillies and the 2008 Tampa Bay Rays. 126. Struggler on Myers. No. Hero on Crawford. He's a semi-hero. The decider die says he is not. So therefore, it will be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Carl Crawford is neither a home run king or slugger. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 2 blank, and that will seal up the deal. I forgot. The Saturday was used to check if Crawford was a hero, and he wasn't. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of what'd you know, a 2 blank. So with that being said, we conclude the first 4 innings here at the Trop with your score: Phillies 3, Rays 3. 124. Ace on Shields. Champ on Burrell. No way. That is going to be a no runs result of a 4 dot, and that will seal up the deal for the first 3.5 innings of this one. Your score remains deadlocked at 3-all between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Tampa Bay Rays. Willie Ibar will be the DH, and he will lead things off for the Tampa Bay Rays with a 2.45. Struggler on Myers. No. Satsack on Ibar. He is not. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash or control. Myers has flash, so therefore that 2 will be reduced to a 1, putting Ibar on at first base for the catcher, Deoner Navarro. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 44. Wild pitcher. Myers is not wild, so therefore it will be a flyout to end the first 5 innings here at the Trop, with the score now: Phillies 3, Rays 3. 3-4-4. Workman on Shields. No. Satsack on Victorino. He is not. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die of control. James Shields has control, so therefore, go big or go home. They're going to place the runner on at third base for Pedro Feliz. He will take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 15. Wow. Oh my goodness. Scrapper hits double. Feliz is not a scrapper. So therefore, this ball is not coming back, folks. It is gone. The Philadelphia Phillies take charge of a 5-3 lead over the Rays. And my, oh my, oh my, oh my. This game is now turned upside down. Unbelievable. With that being said, we go to the bottom half of the 6th with the score now: Phillies 5, Rays 3. 4, 5, 6. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, we're in the semi-freshest innings, and Brett Myers is still considered fresh. Champ on Zobrist. He's not a champ, so therefore, it'll be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Ben Zobrist is not a home run king or slugger batter, so therefore, that is going to be a no runs result of a 5 dot, and that will seal up the deal for the first 6 innings here at the Trop. We head to the 7th inning with the score: Phillies 5, Rays 3. Timeout. We're on our way to the top half of the 7th here at the Trop, and it seems we do see a new pitcher out there on the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays, as Grant Balfour will be on the hill, as he has ace, star, and double flash for this at bat against Chris Kost. Grant Balfour will not be getting any qualities for this at bat against Chris Kost. With that being said, the Philadelphia Phillies take charge of the Rays as we resume play here in the top half of the seventh by the score of 5-3. 135. Ace on Balfour. You better believe it. He has ace. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result of a 5 and that will take us to the stretch here at the Trop. The Rays need to get something going. The score is now Phillies 5, Rays 3. 245. Struggler on Bartlett. He is not. Oh, excuse me, on Myers. Sorry. Struggler on Myers. No. Sad sack on Bartlett. He is not. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die of flash or control. Brett Myers has flash. Go big or go home. That 4 will be reduced to a 3. The Rays will place the runners on at third base for Akinori Iwamura. He will take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 24. Gold fielder makes the out. Oh, Carlos Ruiz is not a gold fielder. He is a neutral fielder. So therefore, it will be an error scoring a run. My goodness, folks, it is now 5-4. Iwamura will be safe on at first base for B.J. Upton. 33. Scrapper hits a single. No, BJ Upton does not have Scrapper. That is going to be a bases clearing triple. An unearned run is going to come the way of Brett Myers, and BJ Upton just tied the game thanks to an RBI triple. And the Rays fans are jumping up and down here at the Trop. It is all dead even at 5 between the Phils and the Rays, as it will now be Carlos Pena's turn to bat off the men on base chart. 13. Fresh relief pitcher gets the pop out. Well, again, we're way past the freshest innings, so therefore it will be a double, and the Rays are going to take the lead thanks to a Carlos Pena double. And folks, the Phillies manager says, I have seen enough. I'm taking my starter out of this ball game. With that being said, we end the first 7 innings here for game 2 of this episode of World Series Rewind with your score, Rays 6, Phillies 5. 1-2-5. 1-2-5. Here we are. Pitcher not fresh. Well, Grant Balfour is the bullpen arm, so he is considered fresh for the remainder of the contest. Champ on Jimmy Rollins. He is not a champ, so therefore that is going to be a no runs result of a 1 dot. Yes, 1 dot, and that will do it for the top half of the 8th. We do see a new pitcher trotting him down the left field line for the Phils, as from the bullpen, we're going to see who that new pitcher is. And while we do so, we will take a quick timeout. And it seems that Ryan Madson will be the new pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, as he has star, semi-flash, and semi-control. For this at-bat against Evan Longoria, Ryan will have the full extent use of the full extent of the flash quality. With that being said, the Rays hang on by 1 run over the Philadelphia Phillies here in the bottom half of the 8th, as they are coming to bat in the bottom half of the 8th inning with the score, Rays 6, Phillies 5. 2-2-3. Ace on Madson. No. Utility on Longoria. No. That is going to be an RBI question mark check. And folks, the decider die says dot. The RBI will be credited to Evan Longoria. Man, oh man, folks. The Rays are looking prime and pretty to win this second game of this World Series Rewind episode. We head to the 9th inning last call for the Philadelphia Phillies as they are down by 2 runs. It's Rays 7, Phillies 5. 1-3-4. Ace on Belfour. Yes, Belfour has ace, and that is going to be a no runs result of a 1 dot, and that is going to be the ball game, folks. The final score here for game 2 of this episode of World Series Rewind as the Rays tie up the series at 1 game apiece, settling with a winner take all game back at the bank in Philadelphia. The final score here for game 2 is Rays 7, Phillies 5. Winner take all for game 3 of this episode of World Series Rewind. As this matchup between the '08 Tampa Bay Rays and the '08 Philadelphia Phillies have been on par spectacular. With that being said, here's your pitching matchup for this wild winner take all game as Cole Hamels will get things started for the for the Philadelphia Phillies as he is finishing up his warm-up tosses out on the mound, and he will be opposed by Matt Garza for the Tampa Bay Rays. That being said, Carl Crawford will lead things off for the Tampa Bay Rays. Without further delay, let's jump right into game 3 to see who will take home the World Series crown for this episode of World Series Rewind. Oh my goodness. Who knew we would start with triple fours? So this is going to be an umpire check. So let me get out the charts here. And again, I played my umpires throughout the History Maker Baseball Express Hour as rotisserie umpires. Every umpire has all the qualities, but they are semi qualities. If they have it, they have it. They don't, they don't. With that being said, Blue, we got to ask you, what's the call, Blue? 3. Respected umpire at third base. It seems we do not. So therefore, it will be a men on base result. We'll roll the right die. And it's a whoa boy. Second and third to begin this ball game. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. This is starting to feel like a winner take all game. Unbelievable. We head to the men on base chart here for Deanna Navarro with a 14. Excuse me. Scrapper hits single. Deanna Navarro is a semi-scrapper, and he is not. Oh my goodness. Deanna Navarro is going to put the Rays in front 2-0 as he will be on his way to second base with a bases clearing double. Man, oh man, Matt Garza in that dugout for the Tampa Bay Rays is liking what he sees. But for Cole Hamels, that defense really needs to sharpen up a little bit. Unbelievable. So therefore, we continue on the men on base chart with a 12. Oh, God. Slugger hits home run. Well, thank God Ben Zobrist does not have it. But therefore, it's going to be a single, and the Rays take another run. It's 3-0 as we head to the bottom half of the first here at the bank here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for game 3 of this episode of World Series Rewind. 2-2-5. Ace on Garza. No. Hero on Utley. He is a hero, so therefore that is going to be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Chase Utley is a neutral runner. They're going to place him out on at second base for Ryan Howard. He will take his packs off the men on base chart with a 23. Eager grounds out. Ryan Howard is not an eager batter, so therefore he will walk. Garza will walk Howard for Pat Burrell off the men on base chart. 34. Slugger hits double. Pat Burrell is a semi-slugger, and the decider die says he is not. So therefore, it will be a single, but the Phils do grab a run, though, as the runner on second scores. The runner on first goes to third, as Pat Burrell will go trot his way to first, and that'll do it. The Phils get on the board. The Rays still lead it 3-1 after an inning of play. 1-2-2. Struggler on Hamels. No. Champ on Bartlett. He's not. Therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 1 dot, and that will seal up the deal for the first inning and a half of this one here for Game 3 of this world episode of World Series Rewind with your score: Rays 3, Phillies 1. 2-3-3. Ace on Garza. No. Champ on Victorino. He's not. That is going to be a no runs result with nope, I'm sorry. It'll be yeah. It'll be it will be a no runs result. I'm getting ahead of myself. Of a 2 dot, and that 2 dot for Flash. And a dot for Control. That is going to do it for the first 2 innings here at the bank here in Philadelphia. Your score is Rays 3, Phils 1. 1-2-4. Ace on Hamels. No. 1-2-4. Here we are. Champ on Iwamura. No. That is going to be a no runs result of a 1 blank. Cole Hamels is keeping the Phils in this ball game, trying to possibly solve the Sudoku puzzle that is Matt Garza. We head to the bottom half of the third with the Rays in front in a shocking start to this winner-take-all game for this episode of World Series Rewind. Rays 3, Phils 1. 4-6-6. Workman on Garza. No. Hero on Feliz. He's a semi-hero. The decider die says he's not. Therefore, it'll be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Feliz does not have a home run king or slugger qualities. So therefore, that will do it for the first 3 innings here at the bank with your score. Rays 3, Phils 1, with a no runs result of a 6 blank 4-6-6. Workman, no. Here, yes, to check for Hero. So sorry, no runs result of 6 dot for Flash and a dot for Control. We head to the 4th inning here at the bank with the score: Rays 3, Phillies 1. 3-4-5. Star on Hamels. Yes, he is. Therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 3 blank, and that will seal up the deal. The Rays, since the first inning, are stymied by Cole Hamels as the Phils are trying to crawl their way back into this one. Down by 2. It's Rays 3, Phils 1. 2-4-6. Star on Garza. He's a semi-star. The decider die says he's not. Champ on Ruiz. He's not a champ. Therefore, it'll be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Carlos Ruiz is not either a champ, is not either a home run king or slugger batter. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 4 blank for flash and a blank for control. That is going to do it for the first 4 innings here for game 3 of this winner take all game for this episode of World Series Rewind with your score Rays 3, Phillies 1. 466. Workman on Hamels. He is not a workman. Hero on Pena. He's not a hero. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result with a possibility of going Placata out of here. Therefore, Carlos Pena has semi home run king, plus he has semi slugger. Let's check first to see if the decider die was used. Workman, no. Hero, no. Decider die was not used. We'll take this result for slugger since the black die is a 6. He does not have it. Does he have home run king though? He most certainly does. So therefore, it is hit one high, hit it far, and it will be gone. Lakata, as he says. 4-1 Phils now in favor, or excuse me, 4-1 Rays, thanks to a Carlos Pena solo home run, and that'll probably be the end of the day for Cole Hamels. Unbelievable. With that being said, we head to the bottom half of the inning with your score now. The Rays 4 and the Phils 1. 1-1-2. Ace on Garza. No. Sadsack on Rollins. No. That is going to be an RBI question mark check. The lead is cut in half as Jimmy Rollins gives the Phillies a fighting chance here as they go to their pen. It's now Rays 4, Phillies 2. You see a new pitcher trotting in for the bullpen for the Philadelphia Phillies. We'll see who that is after we take this really quick timeout. And it seems that J.C. Romero will be the new pitcher trotting in from the bullpen out in deep in deep center field here at the bank as he has semi-ace, full flash, and semi-wild. For this at-bat against Evan Longoria, J.C. Romero will have the full extent use of the ace quality. That being said, the Rays take charge of the Phils 4-2 as we resume play here in the 6th inning here at Citizens Bank Park for this episode of World Series Rewind. 1-2-6 is what we're going to be resuming with. Struggler or gilded on Romero? No. Hero on Longoria. He's a semi-hero. The decider die says yes, he is. Therefore, it'll be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. It seems that Longoria is a neutral runner, so therefore that one is going to stay put, putting him on at first base for Carl Crawford. He will take charge here with a men on base chart look with a 26. Home run king, it's home run. Unfortunately, Carl Crawford is not a home run king, so therefore it will be a contact result. I usually roll the red die for my contact chart results. Okay, so first we're going to look for a whiffer batter versus flash pitcher. It seems we have a flash pitcher, but we don't have a whiffer batter. So therefore, Carl Crawford will add on another RBI for the Rays as they now lead it 5-2 over the Philadelphia Phillies. Matt Garza is trotting his way back out to the mound and to get ready for the bottom half of the 6th. We head to that half inning now with the score Rays 5, Phillies 2. 1-2-3. Workman or struggler on Garza? No. champ on Worth. He's not a champ. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result of a 2-dot. And yes, 2-dot for Flash and a blank for Control. That is going to do it for the first 6 innings as Garza is stymieing the Phils here in Game 3 of this episode of World Series Rewind. We head to the 7th inning with that score, by that score of 5-2 Rays here for this episode of World Series Rewind as part of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. 236. Struggler or Gilded on Romero? No. 236. Here we are. Sad Sack on Deanna Navarro? No. That is going to be an RBI question mark. The decider die says, nah. It's time to stretch here at the bank. And we do see a new pitcher trotting in for the bullpen for the Rays. We'll see who that new pitcher is after we take this really quick timeout while these fine patrons here these fine patrons here at the bank sing a good rendition of God Bless America, along with Take Me Out to the Ball Game. The closer for the Rays has come into the ball game. Troy Percival has semi-Workman, semi-Flash, and semi-Wild for his appearance here for this winner-take-all Game 3 as the Rays manager trusting his closer to deliver a huge 3-inning save. With that being said, the Rays take charge of a 5-2 lead over the Philadelphia Phillies. For this at-bat against Chase Utley, Troy Percival will have the full extent use of the semi-flash quality, the full flash quality, I should say. With that being said, we continue on to resume play. We're in the bottom half of the 7th with the score, Rays 5, Phillies 2. 356. 356. Here we are. Workman on Utley. He's not a workman. Oh, I'm sorry. Workman on Percival. He's a semi-workman, and the decider die says, oh my word, he does have workman. Thanks to the decider die showing dot. Wait. 356. Workman, semi-workman. The decider die says yes. Men on base result with a base running adjustment. Chase Utley is a neutral runner. Oh my word. The bases are loaded full of fills for Ryan Howard to bat off the men on base charts. Oh my. 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. Troy Percival is the bullpen arm, so therefore he is considered fresh for the remainder of the contest. Oh my goodness, that was the Phillies' chance to take the hugest of that. Oh my God, I don't think huge is enough words to say how big of a lead they need in this one, as they have been stymied all night long here in Game 3 of this episode of World Series Rewind. So therefore, it will be a groundout as the Rays escape a bases loaded jam. Unbelievable, folks. We head to the 8th inning with your score, Rays 5, Phillies 2. 456. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, Romero is considered the bullpen arm for the Phils, and he is considered fresh for the remainder of the contest. Do we have a champion batter on Zobrist? It seems we do not. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result with the possibility of a solo home run. Ben Zobrist does not have home run king or slugger. So therefore, it will be a no runs result of a 6 dot. And that will seal up the deal for the first 7.5 innings of this one. Your score remains 5-2 in favor of the Tampa Bay Rays. 114. Struggler on Percival. No. Champ on Burrell. He's not a champ. Therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 1 dot. And that will seal up the deal for the first 8 innings here at the bank. Oh man, time is running out for the Phils to hopefully retain their World Series crown from real life. Can they find a way to do it? Not if the Rays have something to say about it. We go to the ninth with the score Rays 5, Phils 2. 2-3-6. Struggler or Gilded on Romero? No. Sad sack on Bartlett? He is not. That is going to be an RBI question mark check. And folks, the decider die says no. Last call for the Phils, as it will be a no runs result of a 3 blank. Oh, excuse me, the decider die was used to check if the RBI was there. And it will be a no runs result of a 3 dot. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Last call for the Phillies as they look to hopefully get something going here, get unstymied here as the Rays look to capture a World Series crown here for this episode of World Series Rewind with the score Rays 5, Phillies 2. Three, four, six. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, Percival is the bullpen arm, so therefore he is considered fresh for the remainder of the contest. Is Shane Victorino a hero batter? Yes, he is. So therefore, it'll be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Shane Victorino is a semi-active runner. The decider die says yes, he is. From 4 to a 5, putting runners on at second and third for Pedro Feliz. Oh boy, he will take his hacks off the men on base chart. Oh, 14. Scrapper hits single. He's not a scrapper. That is going to be a double. Oh my goodness, folks. It's a 1-run game now. One swing of the bat by Carlos Ruiz, and the Phils will probably come from behind to win it. Can he do it? We remain on the men on base chart. 56. Patient batter draws the walk. Ruiz is not patient. We go to the contact chart results. Oh my goodness. Red die, please. 1. Okay, so whipper versus flash pitcher. We do not have it. Oh my goodness. The Phillies just tied up the game to force extra innings. Oh my goodness. Down 5-2. Where did this come from? Unbelievable! Oh, wow, the Philly faithful are jumping up and down. They have found a way to come back in this one after being stymied early on in this one as they were down 5-1, 5-2, and now they have crawled their way for 3 runs with a 5-5 tie. We go to extra innings here for game 3 of this episode of World Series Rewind. Oh my goodness. That's the beauty of the game of baseball, folks. Anything can happen. We go to the 10th inning. Your score is all deadlocked at 5. Who will walk away from this winner take all matchup? Unbelievable. Oh, triple fives. This is going to be an experience check. Okay, so we'll roll the white die for this and a 5 dot for no runs purposes. So remember 5 dot. We have a 3. We ask, do we have an icon batter? We do not. It'll be a no runs result of a 5 dot. Oh boy, folks. Hold on to those hats. Here we go. Bottom of the 10th. Can the Phillies find a way to walk it off to come back from the dead? Let's find out It's Rays 5 and the Phillies 5 as we head to the bottom half of the 10th inning. 2-3-4. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, Percival is the bullpen arm for the Rays. He is considered fresh for the remainder of the contest. Do we have a Satsack batter on Jimmy Rollins? We do not. That is going to be a men on base result, -1 for the black die if control. And it seems Percival does not have control. The winning run is on at third base. We go to the men on base chart for Jason Worth. 14 scrapper hit single. Jason Worth is not a scrapper. That is they only needed one run, and that is how they're going to get it. The Philadelphia Phillies come all the way back from the dead to win game 3 of this episode of World Series Rewind by the final score of technically 6-5. They needed one run, and one run is what they're going to get. But the stats are going to tally the double. So in this case, really, this final score would be Phillies 7, Rays 5. But they only needed one run to win it, and one run is all they got. Unbelievable. The Rays bench is really in shock as the Philadelphia Phillies crawl back from the dead, down 3-1. The Rays would take another lead to 5-1. The Phillies would not be doubted or counted out yet. They crawled their way to a 5-2 lead, tie it up in the bottom of the ninth to force extra innings. And in the 10th inning, thanks to a Jason Worth base hit, the Philadelphia Phillies retain their World Series crown by the final score of here for Game 3 of a final of 6-5 in 10 innings, and they win this episode of World Series Rewind by the final of 2-1. We hope that you enjoyed this very special edition of World Series Rewind as part of All Star Week for the History Maker Baseball Express Hour, as we featured the last time that the All Star Game host won the World Series. In this case, it was the Philadelphia Phillies as they took on the Tampa Bay Rays. With that being said, we ran out of time for today, but never fear. Let's see what's coming up next time here on the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. And it seems you voted for the 1985 All-Star Game to be the memorable game, to be a part of the next edition of MLB Memorable Games, as the best of the American League take on the best from the National League. With that being said, who will come on top of this matchup? Well, I guess you're going to have to tune in to find out for yourself next time here on the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour that was being played with History Maker Baseball Express. We look forward to bringing you more matchups of Rivalry Night, World Series Rewind, Cross Era Showdown, and a blast from the past as we revisit some classic and memorable games from Major League Baseball throughout the 2026 Major League Baseball regular season.